Okay, so it's been about 4 hours since we glued these halves together. And well, the glue's not completely set. It's set enough for us to go ahead and cut in our spars. So, this part of the build sometimes makes new pilots nervous. They don't want to cut into their brand new foam. But, it's got to be done, so. According to the manual, we should cut the 10.5 inches off of this spar, and that'll give us our 2 bottom spars. So 10.5 inches right there. I'm just going to cut them with these straight cutters here. Yep. And that'll be our 2 bottom spars. And we should take 16.5 inches to make our top spar. So let's go ahead and cut that. $16.5 inches. It's going to be right here. Okay. There we go. That's going to be our top spar. We dropped one here. There it is. And that leaves us with some extra. Let's see how much. Always nice when you get more than you need. Between 22 and 23 inches extra. Now, let's see, if we cut that in half, 22 inches would be 11 inches. That much. Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to make some extra spars. I'm going to make some extra 22 3/4. That'll be 11 3/8 right about there. We'll take an extra piece of spar. I'm going to add some extra spars to the top of this thing just to make it even stronger. Those two should be the same. And they are. So, we'll put those to the side. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about why you might want to choose this airplane for your first wing and why you might not want to. Because this won't be the right plane for everyone. This is a very small plane. And small planes are fun. They tend to be rough to fly in very windy areas. Actually, I live in a very windy area. My flying field's only about a mile from the Atlantic Ocean. And learning to fly in the wind is even tougher when you choose a small plane for your first plane. So if you live in an area with a lot of wind, a lot of high winds, you might want to choose something a little bigger, maybe a VAS spec wing, probably be a good choice at 36 inches. S800's okay, but they don't fly great in the wind either. But the VAS spec wing can be built with a quad motor. It'll be fine. If you want to race in spec class, you need to use the spec motor. It's a 2210 Cobra. But yeah, the glue's good enough for now. But either way, small wings also tend to be twitchy, which is fun to fly once you're used to it. But it can be a little rough on a new pilot, so things to consider. This glue has not fully cured, so we're going to be gentle. But once we lay these spars in, we're going to weight the wing. Yeah, it's on there good enough. We're going to weight the wing and really let it cure. So according to the manual for this wing, you're supposed to bend this like this. And it should go from this end through the center over to that end. So, like that, I guess. Let me get some of these pins back. And we'll put a few in here. We'll pass through here. And here. There we go. I'm just going to pin this thing into where I think it should go. Say about like that. A lot of the time, with a lot of other wing kits, you're going to be dealing with straight spars. They won't flex like this. You might say, how could something that bends this much, and you can see me bending it right around there, how could that add any strength to the wing? Well, because it's flat this way, tall this way, while it's easy to bend this way, it won't bend at all. And that's the direction we're adding stiffness into the wing. So, I'm just going to put a pin here for now. Going to bend this like that. I didn't go quite to the ends. Try to make it even. It's going to give me a hard time, of course. Let's see. There. So I guess that's about where it should be. A lot of times with wings, with a quad, you have to be very precise. You can get everything perfect. Otherwise, it doesn't fly very well. With wings, we use a very scientific method called TLAR. It's TLAR is the acronym we use. TLAR. TLAR stands for, that looks about right. So with a wing, it's kind of, you don't have to be as scientific as you do with a quad. Be very precise. Here's my pencil. So it's about even. I'm just going to go ahead and draw that line. Let's see if I'm actually making a mark here. And draw on the other side, the inside, like that. I'm just trying to make a mark here on this wing where I'm going to cut it. It's just got to be enough so I can see it. I can make a huge mark here. Can I actually see that? Can. A little bit. Okay. More because I'm digging into the foam with my pencil than because it's actually making a mark. That's okay. As long as I can see the spot where it's going to get cut, that's fine. Here. And to about there. Yeah, okay. Once I shine the light on it, I can see it. Alright, good. Now, when you're cutting foam, I'll give you this tip. You don't want to run a knife through foam a bunch of times, because that'll just cause a mess. You want to cut foam one time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife, take my snap blade, I'm going to figure out the depth of this. I'm going to go about that deep. About twice the depth. And I'm just going to freehand cut this. Right on that line that I made. knife isn't as sharp as it should be, it seems to me. It didn't really, it snagged in the foam a lot. Like I said, I don't want to go through that again. Let me just carry on. Is this blade sharp? Get something better before I make a mess. There we go. That is a sharp blade. Okay. For some reason the other blade was snagging in the foam. I'm just going to take our spar and test fit that in there. You know what, first I'll take this pencil and run it through just to open that cut up a little. On this end, that other blade made a hash of it, but it's cut, so. Now, there's a tip. When you're trying to fit a spar in here like this, take something like another piece of spar and just use that to push it down into the slot that you've made there. Not going in easy. What is the problem here? I just told you I don't want to cut it twice, and I just did it. But these are the things that happen sometimes. This cut does not want to open up. Whew, man, this bar is tough to get in there. Alright. Now we're making a little bit of progress here. There we go. Cut that just deep enough. Just barely. Apparently not quite long enough. Okay, add a little more to this end. There we are. Add a little more to this end. Don't worry about if the cut's a little too long. Once you put the glue in it, it'll be like you didn't cut it at all. So that goes from there. There we go. That's all the way in, that's all the way in. Good. So, once you test fit, it's time to glue. Not waste any time on that. I'm going to use some E6000 for this. There we go. Open her up. Get our tip on here. I'm going to cut the smallest possible opening in the end here. There we are. You want to just push that into the cut and then just inject glue all the way in there. Now, you want the glue to even start to ooze out of that crevice that you've made. That's how you know you're getting enough in there. You just go through it slowly and just make sure you get plenty of glue. By the way, it goes without saying, you want to do this in a pretty well ventilated area, because this glue smells funky. You know, I'm going to open this tip up one more, because this is so hard to squeeze that it's not being effective. Let's try that. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're getting some glue in there. You want to just fill that whole cut up with glue. And if it oozes out the top, you're putting the right amount in. Yeah, this glue is hard to squeeze. Start again from this end. There we go. Alright. Get the whole thing filled up with glue there. Get this spar in. These spars, you gotta be careful. You don't want to run your fingers down the spar. I believe these ones are carbon, but a lot of them are fiberglass. And the fiberglass ones, if you run your fingers down along that spar, it will itch. Okay. I'm just going to take this and make sure I get that way down in there. There we go. Yeah, there we go. That glue will kind of hold it once you get it down in there. Yeah. Good. Now, the last thing I like to do after I see the spar, got glue leaking out over here, is take my glue and just go back along the top. Just put a bead right along the top of it. And it just seals that spar right in there. There we go. Then you just run your finger along there, get all that glue right down in there. Good. Okay. One spar done. Of 3. Maybe I won't do any extras. That was a pain in the butt. Alright. So the second spar, so it should go like this. Let me get my pins out again. It should go right through the center here. just like that. As I say, so far the bending flat spar is not my favorite method. It's a pain to work with, but I assume the guys over at TBRC know what they're doing. Okay. Cut that in. Sharp knife is key here. The other knife, I don't know what the deal was, but it wasn't cutting it, literally. There we go. Okay, so this should be my short spar. Yeah. I'm just going to drag it up through there. Get that cut up nice. Give it a good test fit here. Oh yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay, get that out of there. Let's glue it. Really fill that thing up with glue. So it oozes out the top, then you know you're doing it right. Okay. This is that bar, I guess. Drag that through there like that. Make sure you get that glue nice and spread. And let's put it in. Okay. Very good. Now I'm going to take some, go over that again. Good. I'm going to take some of that blue tape, put it over these cuts, because if I don't, when I flip it over, I'll just glue it right to the desk. You need to get all the spars in at once. So, let's do that right now. Once the spars are what make the wing really hold its shape. So you don't want to put them in and then have the wing not be in the shape you want it to be. Okay. There we go. This blue painter's tape doesn't really stick to the foam very well. Ironically. But it'll stick to that glue. So again, this wouldn't really be necessary, except that I just don't want to glue this thing to the desk. No fun coming back to your wing after you've let it dry overnight and find out it's glued to your desk. Okay, so this wing has a flat bottom, so we're going to weight it like this. But first we have to put this third spar in, which goes across the wing like that. Because the center section is raised, I'll have to dig pretty deep into that part. Okay, up to there. And up to here. If you're building a different wing, you want to just check the manual. And it'll tell you, or watch a build video for it. And usually you're sparring like this, and across. This wing's a little different. It's Canadian, and they do things a little crazy in Canada. Just kidding, Canadians. Okay. Cut this side. Cuts are a little too deep. It's not that big a deal, because like I said, the glue will just seal the funnel right back together. But we'll try to control the depth of those cuts. I'm going to get through this middle very deep. There we go. Okay. Okay, a little bit there I still have to cut in between the edge. Right there. There we go. Let's test fit that. Yeah, got a deep enough cut there, that's good. Good. Deep enough right there? Good, good. Okay, how do I get it out? Okay, let's glue her up. A lot of glue in this center section because that's a deep cut. Yeah. Okay. This one. I'm just going to drag that glue through there. There we go. Make sure I've got it all the way along. And let's put her in. Okay. There we go. And just like before, And one last bead over the top there. You see why I wanted to use the E6000 for this rather than the Goop, because it's runnier. It'll sink into these cuts better. There we go. Now, according to the manufacturer, that's all the sparring we need. I think I'm going to put, while I'm here, I might as well, right? Put 2 extras. I think I will. I think I will. We've got the spars. Ready to do it now. Okay. These are the kind of things you can do. Extra sparring never hurt anybody. I'm just going to use this spar as a guide. Then it just like that. I'm just going to cut into that nose section about 1/2 inch. Might be a little stiffer than average, but that's good. I tend to crash. When I pop it into the ground, let it launch, it won't break apart. If you're building an Apex, you don't have to do this, but you can. It came with the extra spar, so I feel bad having extra spar and not using it. There we go. There we are. There we go. Nice and deep. Use so much glue that time, I don't even need the extra. I just use what's in there. Okay. Just going to cut this one. In the wrong direction. There we go. And right up here at the front. Extend that right to that front section. Okay. Just leaned on this wing and pretty much glued my forearm directly to it. There we go. I'll get that glue coming out of there now. Okay. Something to push that in with. Some extra spar from another build. There we go. Okay, that's down in there. Good. Good. Just throw another bead right on top here. Alright. That's sparring pretty much done. Now, any rough frame you're working on, that's going to be pretty similar. Just going to cut a slot. Put that spar in there. A ton of glue. Then put a little more glue on top. And that's it. Let it dry. So, the glue here is not fully dry on the seams yet. And this glue here is going to take a good long time. We used a lot of glue, which is good. It's going to take a good long time to dry. So, what we want to do now is we want to put some weight on this wing. You know, I'm going to use a little more painter's tape too, because I'm going to use weight on this wing. I don't want the weight to stick to the wing. So I'm just going to cover like this slot here. So I put some weight on it. It doesn't end up glued to the wing. There we go. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so now we're going to get some weights. You can use anything you have to hand. I'm going to use a couple of big 5,000 milliamp battery packs. You just want to set them on there. That's a 4200, that'll work. And a 5000 4S. There we go. One more big one. There we go. Another 5,000. There. Now, if you're doing this in wing beds, if your wing came with the wing beds, you want to put it in the wing beds and then weight it, because that means the bottom isn't flat. But on this wing, the bottom is flat. So the table's flat, the bottom is flat, weight it. And that's pretty much it. We're going to leave this thing alone for at least tomorrow for all this glue to dry. I'm going to go wash out this nozzle so that if I need it again, it'll work and we'll be gummed up with glue. But that's it for now. So I'm going to let this thing dry, and I'll see you in a little while for the next video.